Welcome back to the Kim and Alexandria Bolufé podcast. I'm here with Christina Forward, and we're so happy that you've all come to join us. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Kim. Thank you.
Yes, it's been a busy season, hasn't it been, for you and for me?
It's always busy, it seems like. It seems like it's nonstop, but it's all good, right? I'd rather be busy than bored.
Absolutely. You know, in South Florida, we have seasons. So the season usually ends around May, and then it's quite slow. October, it picks up again. So we get to rest a little bit, but not really. It's time to think of what else we're going to bring in for the season. So I enjoy it, though. Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy what you do?
I would say there's really positive things about being a co-owner. There's a lot of struggle. There's so many moving parts. So it's constantly learning and adapting and growing. Overall, I do like what I do. Would I do it again? Do I want to do it for another 30 years? No, probably not. But I'm enjoying it in the moment. I'm learning a lot. It's quite an experience.
Yes, and usually when you have to learn all the steps, of course, when you have someone to lead the way, like a mentor, which I did not have, mm-hmm. I would say the true mentor in my life was my mom, with resilience, perseverance, never, ever give up type of mentality. But other than that, I would have to say that I learned all the steps in my 30-year business on my own. But there's an advantage to that, mm-hmm. because that prepares you for the things that come thrown at you that are beyond your control, such as 9/11.
Right. Things that might affect your industry that are just not in your direct eyesight, like you cannot anticipate some of this happening. And then you have to roll with it and figure it out. So we're in very different industries. So tell me, what are your top things that you have to prepare for that would affect the retail industry? What are some of the things that you've had to experience and just had to figure out on the fly and pivot? In the last 10 years, what have you had to deal with?
Well, first of all, I always choose the best locations. Mm-hmm. Now, the best locations mean the highest rent. Well, obviously, it's all relative, right? So I would pick the most exclusive mm-hmm. destinations to place my shops, my boutiques, and it's okay. You have to take, if you want to say, the good with the challenging, which would be enormous rents.
Yes.
And then you have a certain type of clientele. You must always make the customer so happy. Word of mouth is everything. Mm-hmm. It is everything. When one customer is happy, they tell their friends, and then they tell their other friends. However, some customers do joke around with me. I hope they're joking when they say, oh no, I'm not telling anyone about you because I don't want them to have the same type of style I have.
Yeah.
I say it's okay. As long as you keep on coming back to me with all respect, I really do appreciate it. So yes, location, you have to pay the rent. Mm-hmm. It is an enormous...
Well, COVID affected that too. The prices went way down during COVID. Everybody was going remote, closing out their shops. And so, we got a screaming deal on our rent, but then now everybody's hiking it back up again. So did you have to deal with, because you had 2 locations here. Where else? Do you have another location anywhere else? Or?
Well, just before COVID, I still had multiple locations. I was at University Commons, City Place, Town Center Mall, Meisner Park, and, of course, my headquarters, Atlantic Avenue, Delray Beach. So what happens during COVID, and this is what I mean about being able to pivot. Mm-hmm. When you learn everything and you have to do everything, it makes you an expert. How long does it take and how many times do you have to go through something like that to make you pretty much of an expert, a very well-seasoned? It depends on the entrepreneur. Well, for me, because I started at such a young age, over 30 years ago, and I had to learn everything on my own, when COVID came, I did pivot. And it actually made the business, Bolufé Boutique, bigger than ever. Because while 17 stores went out of business on my street,
Wow.
and all the stores were closed, it really was a ghost town. This gorgeous Delray Beach, the mecca of shopping, was closed for months and months. And then it just came to me, and you always got to follow your gut.
Right.
It came to me, why don't I do a live show? Why don't I text my customers and let me learn everything I can on social media? So I became a social media
was
expert.
A brilliant shift. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So everyone then had to figure out how to go virtual, and you did. So it's just like home shopping then at that point, right?
At that point, yes.
But you kept it going. Because
Yes.
it was successful. It's increasing your SEO, it's increasing your social media presence, all of that. So it was a pivot that you had to do at that moment, but then it served a good purpose. You could keep going.
Yes, that's true. Now, I must say, though, most of my very good and clients from the past, and in the present, I should say, still need to come in for me to style them. They're not comfortable buying online, and I don't blame them, because the women and the men that I style are of a professional age. They've forgotten about themselves. You know, they raised a family, they chased a career. Now their kids are all out of school, moved out, they're empty nesters, and they kind of forgot about themselves for the past 10, 20 years. So they don't know where to begin. So when they come see me, it's a whole brand new look, feeling, confidence. And they need to visit me pretty much the first time. After one or two times, first of all, in the system, I have their sizes. I know what they like. So when they buy online, they might send us a text and say, Kim, do you think that this would fit me? Is this right for my body type? Well, because they're confident now that they've already been styled by me, so they can buy online. But if it's just someone that's never met me, they would have to be pretty good with their own styling or sizing in order to buy it online.
Okay. So let's talk again about like pivoting. So have you had any issues with staffing and anything? Like most of your staff has been with you for a long time, but have you had any issues with that you had to pivot?
No, and that's rule. That's not even rule number 3. Everything that I just mentioned, the location, being able to make the customers happy, making the employees happy. I'm not saying it comes in that order. They all are of importance. My staff is wonderful.
That's awesome.
They love me and I love them. But you got to get the job done too in order to be with me for years. I am a spiritual girl. I only hire a certain type of energy that's working. There cannot be gossip. There cannot be drama. Everyone is a team. And if that doesn't work, remember what they say, one bad apple can ruin the whole bunch.
Poisons
it's really
the
true.
well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It's so contagious too, because it creates a perception, and then regardless of what's actually happening, if those other people believe in that one person's perception, it ruins everything.
So
because they don't ask either. They'll just go with it and believe it, whether it's true or, whether it's true or not. So yeah, it's definitely hard. And I'm glad to hear you set those ground rules going into it.
Oh, yes. If you feel that someone on your team is doing something unethical, immediately you cannot wait because it will spread.
It will, yeah.
And that's it. It's over. But if they know that from the very beginning, where you stand, you demand integrity, respect, honor, treat the customers right, be a team player, you can last here for years. My team has been with me 5 to 20 years, and they're wonderful. They're wonderful.
Congratulations on that, too.
Thank
That's
you.
Huge accomplishment to have a staff there that long. But I think it's an understanding too on both sides. Like, this is an exchange. I am paying this person to then in return do what I need to keep this business going. And it's an exchange. Whereas I think a lot of times I see it seems very one-sided, and there's a lot of demands and expectations, and without delivering, really, it's like, well, I just showed up, so that's good enough, Well, that doesn't, no, it's an exchange. So
yes.
Setting those clear expectations ahead of time is really important.
Very important. And, the team member, and I don't call them employees, they're my team, they have to feel valued. They have to feel purpose. They have to believe in the leader, the boss, that what she says, she will follow through. Any promises, it's all reciprocal. I promise you, you give me a promise, and we're both going to fulfill it. The entire team is that way. If one team member promises, yes, I'll help you accomplish this project, and yes, we'll have it done by 5 o'clock tomorrow, they will do the best to get it accomplished. Otherwise, if you go back on your word or you don't fulfill your promise, then your word doesn't mean that much. And my upbringing, the integrity, the honor, I told you what my mom has really instilled in me. I bring that to the workplace. It's very important, because if you don't have a team that believes in you and your leadership and only cares about them getting paid, and they don't feel valued, and they don't believe that they have a purpose, it's never going to work, because one person cannot grow big enough, fast enough. You need a team. You need to delegate. I don't micromanage anyone.
Yeah. No, I like what you're saying. It definitely hits home, and you're right on. I completely agree. And I'm like making mental notes. Okay, I need to do better on this too. So yeah, it's good. What else? What else has forced you to change and pivot?
Well, why do I travel to Italy and other parts of the world? And most of it, 95, maybe a little more, 98% of my beautiful clothing is all from Italy. And why would I do that? Why would I go on a long trip at least twice a year overseas and pay all the duties, taxes, shipping, go into the factories? It's because I must have the most unique, incredible merchandise. Now, people think, oh, when you go over to Italy, you pay less for the product. Yes, you do. However, what about the shipping, the duty,
right.
Now the tariffs?
Oh, yeah. Oh, so let's talk about that. How is that hitting you?
Well, it's a good thing I have a warehouse. I do buy plenty when I have an instinctual gut feeling this is going to be it. This is what we're going to sell a lot of. People are going to love this. So I just buy more. So I'm going to have to pivot again. Let's see what happens in the months to come with the tariffs. I don't have to buy as much because I have a warehouse filled with crates of merchandise that was shipped over from Italy.
Okay. So besides your back of your store, you have an additional warehouse full of merchandise.
3, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
Incredible merchandise that you just cannot find in the United States. One-of-a-kind pieces. Maybe sometimes I only can get 2 or 5 pieces. And everything I post on Facebook, Instagram, my live show, people are just waiting every week for the next crate to be opened.
So do you have like a strategic rollout? You're like, okay, I'm holding on to this collection over here until, like a certain release. Do you schedule these releases?
Well, it's not really scheduling.
Okay.
It's how I feel. And that's part of my success. I did not write a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, or a 1-year plan my entire life. I went with my gut. You can't plan for stock market crash, 9/11, COVID. You just can't plan. So what happens is you just go with the flow and you go with your instincts. So no, I don't schedule it. I go with my instincts. People are going on cruises right now. They're going on vacation. So let me open up that crate filled with that colorful, beautiful maxi cruise wear.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's
so
how I do
there
it.
is some strategy. It's just not exactly scheduled.
That's correct.
It's more in your head strategy of what's happening, who are your clientele, and how are you going to roll it out to them in a way that makes sense seasonally.
Yes, seasonally, of course, but also depending on, because every year the customers that visit me, some are going to Greece, some are going to Italy, some are going to be on a cruise, they're in the tropics. So depending on what the customer says, that's how I'm going to pivot. And I'm in the store, in the boutique, every day, 7 days a week. I'm pretty much there till 10:30 every night. I love what I do. I have a lot of passion for what I do. And I always tell my team, never worry about the money, because when you love what you do so much, you will shine and the money does come, right? Because sometimes you have people that work for you to say, I need to make more money. I'm not sure what I want to do with my life. But they ended up here 5 to 20 years.
So they clearly love it.
They do. They love it very much because there's a lot of action in the store.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, I've been in so many different businesses, from small businesses to huge corporate and a lot of in between, family businesses, all that. And it's like, unless you are doing something you enjoy, the money doesn't mean anything.
That's right.
It's like, is this really worth it? Can I have any input in this? Am I just a paper pusher? Do I have value? There's so many things that go into having a job or a career that are worth so much more than just the paycheck and the experience. Is this going to look good on my resume? Is this going to fulfill me? Is this going to launch me into something else? Who are the people I'm going to network with, to take me maybe somewhere else? So it's like, there's so many factors that go into a job. But if someone is like, no, this is completely fulfilling me and I don't want to do anything else, then the money doesn't matter.
And really, the money doesn't matter, but the money will come because you love it so much that you become so great at it.
And then you create more value for yourself and for your company that you're working for, because you are passionate about it. And so you'll bring to the table ideas and your passion, and that will energize the people around you. It will help grow the business in different ways that you may not have thought about, and they're all there to help lift you up and give you ideas and encourage you, because they want to be a part of the success if they're passionate about it.
That's correct. And I always tell all the girls that work for me, my daughter, who you surround yourself with is the most important part of your evolution. There's 5 people. Those 5 things could be coming from one person. It could come from 3, or it would take 5. And if we had time on another podcast, I will tell you what those 5 crucial things one needs to evolve.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do another one about that.
Okay, it's very important. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, since we are running out of time, I want to say you can find me on Instagram, Facebook at Kim Bolufé, and today it was an honor for me to speak to everyone again. I hope that you join me on my live show, 7:30 every Tuesday night, Eastern Time, on the Bolufé Boutique Facebook page. Okay, everyone, and thank you, Christina, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for showing me the love, everyone. Mwah!